To celebrate the launch of the brand new Planet Coaster Magnificent Rides collection, we are giving away one copy of this DLC to one lucky member of the Pause Games community. Head over now to collection.pausegames.co.uk to enter through various different methods. The competition is only open for just under 1 week, so be quick and get your entries in. Good luck everybody! Hello guys, welcome back to Pause. Adam here and welcome back to World Discovery. This is part 14 and today we are starting on a brand new country, but more on that in a second. So before we get started, if you enjoy this video, please give us a like down below. It really does help us out, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you would like a chat to me or anyone else from the community, jump on to our Twitter or Discord server, links are in the description. So what are we doing today? So we are starting on our next country. Now it took me a little bit of time to decide what country I was going to do, but in the end I've decided on France, as you've probably seen from the video description anyway. But yeah, so we are tackling France. It's only going to be a relatively small area compared to the other two we've done. It's definitely going to be nowhere near as big as both the Mexico and the America area. It's going to sort of take up a little bit of space, only going to be maybe 1 or 2 buildings, I think maybe 1 ride, but that's part of what I want you guys to help me with. So there's a few bits in this park and in this build today that I need your opinion on, and also a few things that I need your help with. So let's first talk about what I'm doing here, and then I'll go on to the suggestions and stuff later on. So this building that I'm putting in now, I did a little bit of research on sort of Google Images and that kind of thing on sort of French architecture, to kind of come up with some kind of Parisian style builds, and that's kind of what I've gone for here. So I've gone for a slightly different style of shape than normal. I mean, it's still relatively a grid-based building, using the in-game roofs and things. I need to try and keep the count down on this build because it's going to end up being quite big. But for a grid-based building, I do think it turns out quite nice. I've gone for a kind of forced perspective type appeal to it, to give it the impression that it is actually a lot taller than it actually is. In total, it turns out being a 4-story building. In terms of its windows and its look, but in actual fact, if it was a real life building, it'd probably only be 2 or 3. So it's kind of got a little bit of forced perspective there, but nothing too sort of amazing. Like I say, the general style for it was kind of based on a town building that you would probably find within Paris itself or within a big city. And what the angle I'm going for outside of it is, for anyone who's been France or around various European countries, sitting outside of cafes and restaurants is quite a big deal. So the fronts of most buildings will have a little seating area with tables and chairs and things, where you can sort of grab a coffee, have a drink, grab a sandwich, whatever it is, and sit outside and just watch the world go by, as that's quite a popular thing in these kind of style buildings and places where this building would be. So that's what I'm going for actually, and you'll see it a bit later on. We do put a little outside seating area in, which I think turns out quite nice. We use a mixture of stone walls, Victorian roofs, and Renaissance architecture in this build. So it's a little bit of a mix of everything, but I think in the end it does come together quite nicely. Adding some of these Renaissance window shutters to the in-game normal windows, just again to sort of influence that Parisian look we're going for. But like I've said numerous times throughout this build, I am in no way an expert on architecture and anything like that. So if I do get any bits wrong, I'm sorry and I do apologise. But I'm trying my best to make this thing look relatively nice, and that's hopefully what it turns out to be. Here, just a very small overhang, as like I said, they do have a little bit of rain covering. It's quite small in regards to where we put the actual seating. But for now, I think I'll keep it. But I might change it up in down the line potentially. But I mean, for now, it kind of works with the scale of the build. A couple of these little what are they called? Columns, I guess, just to break up the centre of the building. And I do change out that balcony in a second as well, because once I put these in, it kind of all looked a bit squashed. So we bring the balcony out forward a little bit and give it a bit more space. And I think it works quite well. Obviously, it was not a usable balcony in terms of the actual what use the building's going to have, as it's all going to be on the lower floor. But I think from the outside, it looks quite nice. And that does actually bring me on to the very first question for you guys on this build. What should we use this building for? Now, my original thought, and I didn't do anything with it in this building on the inside other than put floor down. My original thought is, do we just have this as one big restaurant? So literally have the restaurant black box at the entrance of the door, and then just put in some tables and chairs that you can see through the window to give it the impression of an interior. Or do we go for quick service outlets? Now, my reasoning for making this a full-on restaurant is I'm still going to use the French brand quick service somewhere else within the French area, as a little kiosk or something. So it's not paramount importance that we get that in this particular building. And I believe it's the like French baguettes or whatever it is, like sandwiches, I think it is the French one. So like I say, that is going to be used in this pavilion at some point. So well, not pavilion, in this country at some point. So it's not crucial we get it in here. So yeah, let me know, what do you think we should use this building for? Like I said, I'm leaning towards it being a box restaurant, but I'm open to suggestions, so let me know what you think. So yeah, that's coming together nicely. The other thing I want to talk about very briefly before we get to the footage of it, the bit of space opposite the building where I left that little bit of land around the path in. Now, my plan was to put in the Eiffel Tower, and you'll see towards the end of the building I do put one in, and it's actually one I found on the workshop. Now, this today is a very much, does it work? And I need your guys' honest opinions on it. I don't know if it's too big. I've put it in, I've tried to scale it back a little bit, but all in all it is quite a large structure, and I don't know if it's too large for this park. So let me know your thoughts. Maybe wait till the glamour shots at the end, the very end of this video. I'll do some slow-mo shots around the area to just sort of show you how it looks, including the Eiffel Tower. And I have put in, as you'll see a bit later on, some quite high trees around the other countries, so it doesn't necessarily detract too much from those countries. But like I said, I'm open to suggestions. If it is too big, I'm going to have to make my own, which is fine. I was just trying to prevent having to do that, considering there are some already amazing ones up on the workshop. But yeah, let me know what you think, guys. If it's too big, let me know. Or do you think it fits relatively well? I don't know. But like I say, wait till the end and we can look at that a bit in more detail. So yeah, that's basically what we did today. This building, like I say, is hopefully going to house something. It's going to definitely do something. In terms of the rest of the area, like I mentioned at the start, I'm thinking maybe one ride. Whatever that ride is, I don't know. We've got a lot of space behind this building, so it could be pretty much anything. We've an open canvas really in France, but I want it to be something that will fit the theme. So that's where hopefully you guys can help me with some suggestions. So this bit here is where I was looking up the Eiffel Towers. So yeah, ignore this bit of footage. I probably should have cut this out really, but it's fine. It cuts back in a second where we do plonk one in. So this is the one that I did find. Like I said, from just putting it in, it's massive. So I tried a few things at first. Can we hide it behind that? Then it just looked like a tower. It looked more like Blackpool Tower than anything without the base. It seems to be one of them things, the Eiffel Tower. It's the base that really makes it. So yeah, I did try a few times to scale it back a little bit, and like I said, it just ended up looking like a generic tower. So what we do, we put it back where I planned for it, and I bring down this little top section ever so slightly, just to bring the scale in a little bit. And as you can see from the other angles, it does work quite well from a distance, but I just don't know if it's too big. I do fix up that in a second. You might see the bits that are missing. We do fix this as the build goes on. But I generally just wanted to make sure the actual scale of it was alright. But like I said, it's open. I'm open for your guys' suggestions, because yeah, let me know. Is it too big? Is it okay? Does it work? In terms of the Washington Monument that we did in the American area, it's bigger than that, but not overly. It's not too much higher. So that's why I'm thinking, in terms of its actual scale, it's probably about right. But like I said, it's up to you guys. Let me know. Yeah, it's up to you, really. And like I said, I will try and tackle one, but it's going to be a bit of a pain to make one of them. And this one's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So if we can keep it, that'll be great. And here I was just checking the view from the different areas, and that's when I realised it's quite visible from America. So we put in a little bit of tree cover around the edge, just to try and detract from it a little bit. And it kind of works, actually. You just see the top poking out, so it works quite well. And then again, from the park entrance, we do have a look at some point. You can just see it in the distance, because it's back far away. It's the sort of back corner of the park. It kind of gives the same kind of height as the rest of the buildings from a distance. So I think it does work. So you just put in some little finishing touches on the building, a few little details like a few closed shutters, them little window boxes, just again to give it a little bit of detail and just make it look like it would be a real build. This is where we sort out the front by sorting out the path, building out the little sidewalk, I guess you would call it. I'm not really sure what it's meant to be, but basically the stone bit that's sitting under the building, the foundation. We build that out a little bit, and that's where we put in the benches, which is basically our little eating area outside the building. And I think, like I say, it turns out quite nicely. These are quite common, like I said, in these style builds and these areas where this is based in, so I think it's quite common. So yeah, let me know what you think about to do with this building, and let me know about the Eiffel Tower, and also what ride. So I know there's quite a lot I'm asking you, but I would like your guys' input. It really just help out and pave the way for the rest of the build. And now for the rest of this footage, we mainly just sort of tart up the area. So we put in a little bit of fencing, bins, benches around the area, and then put in planting underneath the Eiffel Tower structure. So we build it up a little bit with some berms, and then sort of plant that quite nicely. This area I want it to be quite pretty, as generally France is quite a pretty place in terms of its towns and its cities. Paris is quite a beautiful town, well, in most areas of it. So I'm trying to make it have quite a nice, pretty, tidy vibe, and that's why we go for quite bright colours within the planting to really pick that out, which you'll see as we get down to it in a few moments. I've chose the trees for the area, and we're going for these sort of 4 or 5 different trees to try and again give it a little bit of difference from everywhere else, and also have a running thread throughout each country. And that's something I've mentioned a few times, that I want the planting and the trees and the flowers of each area to feel like it belongs to it, and to give it, like I just said, a natural thread throughout, and also so it varies it up a little bit. So each country has its unique and individuality. That's what I'm going for, really. Anyway, right, that's enough for today's footage in terms of me talking about it. It'll carry on in the background, but I do want to talk roughly, very quickly about the game. So, obviously, anyone who's been following it, the Magnificent Ride Collection, as of time of recording this video, is out in a couple of days, in 3 days, I think, from today. No, 2 days, sorry. But yeah, anyway, it's out in a few days. So there's a few new rides in that we could always use in this area and also in this park, as it's probably not going, by the time I record the next episode of this, the rides collection will already be released. So if there's anything in that you think could look really nice in this park, let me know, as I'm really wanting to use the new stuff anyway. And I'm not going to be doing a specific park build for that new DLC. As in the past I have done like adventure, I did a adventure ride build, World's Fair we did Hysteria Pier, obviously sorry no, this World's Fair we're doing this park, Vintage we did Hysteria Pier, the Studios pack we did a Studios Park. So normally I do tie it in with a new build, because I've still got this one going at the moment and it is the main build on the channel. I don't want to overcomplicate things, so I'm not going to be starting a new park with the new rides. So if I can try and get some of them in this park, then that kind of ties everything together nicely. However, I will be doing a full review video of the pack when it is released, and we'll go through each ride, look at them all in depth, and have a little go on them all, and just give it a little bit of a review. And that's probably what we'll put out maybe Tuesday, hopefully if I get the time. But it's a busy time for me at work at the moment, so I'm trying to get Planet Coaster and Parkitect and the channel content out there, as well as working full time in a really busy period. I work in quite a big tourist attraction in the UK, and this time of year we are absolutely rammed. So yeah, bear with me. I'm trying to get content out as quick as possible. The other thing I want to mention, I've been mentioning a lot recently about the issues with the game, the bugs, the lag, the problems with the gizmo to rotate and things like that. Now it still hasn't been fixed in game, but the Frontier did a live stream a few days ago talking about the Magnificent Rides collection, and in that live stream Sam Denny, which is one of the, I believe he's one of the programmers or art directors or something like that, he's quite high up within the game anyway, has mentioned that it is being fixed. Well, they have fixed it, and that will come out in an update along with the Magnificent Rides collection. So we've not got long to wait until hopefully the game is back to normal again, which is all good news. Anyway, that's enough rambling on about Planet Coaster. I'll leave you now with a few little slow-mo shots around what we've done today, looking at the building, the planting, and also the Eiffel Tower structure. So like I said, please do let me know down below what you want me to use the building for, what kind of rides or ride should be put in the area, and do you think the Eiffel Tower suits the area? Is it scaled well? Is it too big? Is it okay? And now from this angle I think it looks quite good. I think it's scaled relatively well from the peak perspective and also from a view around the park. I'll do a slightly wider shot in a second, so but please be honest guys, let me know your honest opinions. Do you think it's too big or do you think it fits quite well? And I'll collate all the comments and we'll come up with a decision for the next episode. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for today. So thank you ever so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this, please give the video a like down below. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already to stay up to date with all of the content. Any questions, queries, comments or suggestions, drop those down below. And if you fancy a chat to me or anyone from the Pause Games community, jump onto the Twitter or the Discord server. Links are in the description. But for now guys, thank you ever so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers guys, bye!